So today we're gonna make meatballs and spaghetti. It's honestly really easy. Firstly, if you're new here, my name is Kristen. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm finally kicking back up my videos and trying my best to get it back in. I'm gonna be telling you guys what I plan to do, how frequently I plan to post, and what I strive to do, and how you guys can help me get there. Onions. I don't have any shallots right now. I'm gonna be using ginger also. Um, to be completely honest, ginger has little to nothing to do in spaghetti, but I want to put it in there, and you're not going to stop me, so I'm going to put it in there. But starting my story, I have been an entrepreneur, or trying to be, for honestly as long as I can remember. I've always tried to make money my way. Sometimes it was a little weird, other times it wasn't. And it's always been super fulfilling. I mean, the things that I've done in like my entrepreneur career has genuinely made me happy. It's made me feel like I've made a difference in people's lives. My most recent slash like biggest endeavor that I have been striving to do has been be OBGYN in Sweden or in the UK somewhere. I want to show everybody that your first plan won't always work. I did dog sitting and nannying for a few 4 or 5 years together. Fulfilling. It made me feel like I was making a difference in people's lives. I felt like I was making a difference in my own life. It was amazing. I loved it. It was amazing, and I absolutely loved nannying. I think nannying was one of my favorite things I've done. You know, I started getting older. People started saying, "Oh,
when are you gonna get a real job? When are you gonna, get a job and work a regular 9 to 5 and stuff like that?"
Like, I remember feeling so pressed to do that. And so I said, okay, fine. I'm gonna look for a job. So I got a job at Chick-fil-A. I was super excited. Did it. It was not for me. I won't be in the work environment for a little bit. I'll go back to doing nannying and doing dog sitting. So I did that for another couple of years. And then I was like, fine. I'm gonna start looking for another job. So it was stressful because it was the summer after I met my partner. So I was just nervous. I was nervous. I was afraid that I wouldn't get it. I recently got into rock climbing and absolutely love that. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try rock climbing and see if I can get a job at the rock climbing gym. After a few tries, it did not work, but I was able to apply to a job at a rock climbing gym an hour away from me. So I applied to a job that was an hour away from me without traffic, which means it was an hour and a half with traffic. And I got the job. Surprisingly, I got the job. And they asked me many times, Kristen, are you sure you're going to want to drive that far to work? And I said, sure. I did it. I did it for almost a year. I did that. Once again, that job I really did love. Like I have told my partner, my friends, my therapist, I mean, you need a little bit of everybody to help you keep grounded. But I told everybody, I was like, man, if that job paid enough, I would have stayed in it. But it didn't pay a living wage. And at that point, me and Charlie were planning on thinking about moving. So we wanted to have the amount of funds to be able to do that. And unfortunately, that job wasn't cutting it. So it was a really stressful couple months. I applied to a job I tell you, it was literally, I applied to at least 5 jobs every morning before I went off to work. And then at work, I would apply to 50, 60 more jobs. No kidding. I would apply to jobs all day. Wash that off. I applied to jobs all day. So I was trying. Eventually, I got 2 job callbacks, okay? And there was one that was more up my alley. It was at another climbing gym for more money. That would have been sufficient. But I knew that I knew how to work a climbing gym job. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a bank job. That bank job was not for me. I am a busybody. I love to move around. I love to talk. remember thinking, I just don't want to seem like I failed again. You can't be perfect every time. It's quite literally impossible. And I know personally, if you're anything like me, you'll try. And you'll try to make it work. You'll try your best to, get to the end and thug it out. Hear me when I say being uncomfortable and being in the wrong place are two different things. At the bank job, I am in the wrong place. And it's not that I picked the wrong thing, it's that time for there is over. My training, me learning, me figuring out what wasn't for me, that was my time. And that's okay. It's not the end of the world. And this is for me and for you. It's not the end of the world for me to have changed my mind. I think in this world, in this time, you see so many adults as a young adult that, is in a job, been there 30, 40 years, been there 10, 15 years. And, they're well on their way. They know what they're supposed to do. They've been there a while. And, you're not going to get there your first try. And half the time, they're miserable. I don't want to be miserable. I want my job to be fulfilling. And if somebody else wants to do that, good for them. But I'm going to try my darndest to do what's best for me. And what's best for me sometimes isn't the usual. So on this channel, I plan on documenting me figuring it out. Me trying stuff, jobs and stuff. Currently, I have a new job lined up. We'll see how that works. And if that's not for me, it doesn't mean I failed. It means I learned something. It means I learned that job, a job like that isn't for me. And until I find the sweet spot for me, until I find what works well for me, not saying it won't be hard, not saying I won't have ups and downs, not saying it won't be a struggle in certain parts of the job, but saying that it'll be worth it for me personally. I don't want to settle for a job. I want to be happy. I want to flourish. I want to feel like I'm welcome there. Sometimes I get in my own way. That is what's holding you back from trying something. Now, I am not a multi-million-dollar-aire. I'm a hundredaire. I have 100 every now and then, and that's really it. And they go to my bills, and then they go away. 5 years ago, 3 years ago, I didn't think I'd be here in my own apartment, cooking my own dinner. I wish, but I didn't really think I'd get there. And not striving to be perfect, but striving to be better. I think striving to be perfect is a letdown. People strive to be perfect, and then they don't get far because they're in their head. Eventually, they'll hit perfect. That's not how it goes. It's strive to be better. Am I better than yesterday? That's the question I want to ask myself. Am I better than yesterday? Am I better and a better mindset for tomorrow? Have I learned from my today? This channel hopefully will be traveling. Maybe it'll be some gaming. Maybe it'll be some day in my life. To listen to me yap. So if any of that resonates, or if you know somebody, add them to the channel. And not because I know the answers, but we can both try together. I'm going to finish chopping up these mushrooms. I've already chopped up onions and garlic. And then we'll head to the next step. Want them to get nice and brown. Keep them moving. I also cut up a bit of celery, not to really add flavor, not to really add texture, but to add a smidge flavor. So like half a stalk at best. So I got some decent color on these. It is starting to look more burnt than anything, and that is okay. I don't mind a little char on these. Could definitely let them cook longer. I probably could have added more onions at that, but it's fine. We're gonna really quickly salt the onions, not the pepper just yet. I'm gonna add a bit of bacon fat. Add tomatoes. Add the ginger. And a little bit of celery we put. Just because. I also have garlic. And you best believe I will be using a little bit of that. I'm not above no garlic. Gordon Ramsay washes his chicken but not his rice. What kind of backwards act is that? If you're gonna wash a chicken, fine, no problem. But at least wash your rice. Be decent.
I'm better than you. My shape up better. My car faster. My drip better. My clothes fit better. My hoes better. My tattoos better.
Anyway, so this is getting pretty smell nicey. So I'm gonna add pepper in there. I added a heavier helping than needed because I'm gonna add everything else in. I'm going to add the garlic in there. Also gonna add a bit of garlic. Now it's perfect. Adding in the mushrooms. Also gonna add in a little bit more olive oil. That was a lot of bit more. Who cares?
2 shots of vodka.
Mix it in. So I'm gonna add meatballs in. Get a little bit brown. And not that they're not cooked. If they weren't cooked, this would be a perfect time to get them brown quick and easy and to get the next thing in. This is literally just to create a Maillard reaction. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. If I'm wrong, oh well, I'm wrong. But just to get that browning on it, caramelization on the bottom. So when everything else comes in, they're all nice and buddy-buddy. This is what we got so far. I'm going to quickly deglaze the pan. You can use some water or chicken stock, tomato sauce. Now, I'm going to add enough water to make sure everything's covered. And I always do it from the jar that had the tomato sauce, so at least it's a little like tomato water. And just gonna, maybe 20 minutes, the longer you let it simmer down, is the longer the flavors are gonna become friends. So I am done cooking. I don't feel like putting my mic back on. So food is served. I actually cooked it like, it's 6:59, so I think I cooked it for like extra, I think it actually was like 50 minutes of it just like simmering on its own. One way or another, thank you guys for watching. We're gonna Charlie in here.
Hi.
Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Remember, you are important, you are loved, and the world is better with you in it.